So I will start with what we saw today out there on the Ponderosa. LSU allowing the media to sit for the entire practice. I've got a show to get to, and it started raining. I didn't feel like getting dumped on. So I saw about 70% of what the media was allowed to see. Obviously there's some stuff floating around on Twitter now with some of the stuff that went on after, but I got to see the vast majority of what was going on out there. So I've got some thoughts on that, and we'll continue to roll through those here for the first 30 minutes of the show, get Jeremy's thoughts on what I saw as well. I guess we'll start with the quarterbacks. It's what everybody wants to start with, and that's fine. We can start with the quarterbacks. Garrett Nussmeier is a little bit gimpy at the moment, so he is out there at practice. He is going through the non-live portions of what they do, but he's not able to go in the 11-on-11 or even the 7-on-7 stuff. He's simply doing the accuracy deals and some of the footwork stuff. So he's out there, but he's not able to go full go at this point because he's got a little bit of a lower body injury. Jayden Daniels is repping almost exclusively with the ones. He is out there with them in the 7-on-7. He's going through a lot of the drills first. He is getting, I would say, 90-95% of the 1 reps, and Miles Brennan is catching a lot of reps with the 2s. You're getting Walker Howard kind of down the list a little bit right now, as we all expected. I don't think this is earth-shattering news, but certainly now everyone has seen a full practice. Jayden Daniels out there with the ones.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I thought going into this thing after that first practice. And, I think that's an element to the offense that he brings with his legs. And I think that's something that you're going to see probably used a lot, especially early on in the season, to really keep guys, the defensive ends on their heels, get him on the edge, probably roll him out, and try to get the ball out of his hands quick. I don't really think they're going to do what we saw a lot last season, and that's a lot of 10-step drops and really holding the ball all day, looking to get receivers, 20, 30 yards down the field. I think you're going to see a lot more quick game, and I think that's something that I think Jayden Daniels can do.
Look, I thought, first of all, over the last 2 weeks, I've watched a little more of the Jayden Daniels highlight tapes over the last 3 years at Arizona State to get a little bit of a better feel of who he is and what his skill set is. There's no doubt when you turn the film on, like, he is legitimately fast. He's one of the faster players on the field. He broke some long runs, outran some Pac-12 defenses in his time at the Arizona State quarterback. When you watch him in practice, it's not a rocket arm, and he also doesn't look totally out of place. It's not. I've watched plenty of LSU quarterbacks out there who you went, that kid can't play. And so Jayden Daniels never does anything that makes you go, oh, that's real trouble. And he hasn't done anything to me that's like, oh my God, did you see that? He's just solid. There's a lot of quick passing game stuff. His release is very quick. The arm is plenty strong. He was very accurate in the intermediate stuff. He threw some nice touch passes as well. He's got a good skill set. There's no question about it, and he's also got more starts than anybody by 1.5 miles on this LSU roster. So right now, Jayden Daniels appears to me to be repping with the ones the most, and you would have to consider the front runner at this point. They got a long way to go in camp, and one of the guys that we thought had a real shot is not able to go full go right now. So it's not set in stone, and you're not gonna go proclaim anything. But Jayden Daniels right now looks like the guy who's getting the first big-time look. Miles repping with the 2s, made a couple of nice throws, hit Brian Thomas on a nice stutter go in 11-on-11. That was a really, really nice throw that Miles made. Got the good arm. We kind of know Miles Brennan right now, but the key thing with him is he looks healthy out there.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what we all know as Tiger fans. Been ailing his whole entire career, and really when he had an opportunity to really, show what he can do, obviously we know the injuries piled up for him. So I think right now it's probably not the best situation for him. He probably would love to be out there getting majority reps with the ones, but I think the more football he plays, the more he gets his body back used to playing football, I think it is for him. And especially think if a quarterback does get injured, now he's right back in the fold and one play away from being an LSU quarterback.
One I did notice, and I like to see, and this is just something that I noticed 2 times as I was looking out over the entirety of the practice fields, is that Miles Brennan on 2 different occasions was coaching Walker Howard through some footwork stuff while the drill was going on, and they weren't participating, whether Daniels was going through it or Nussmeier was doing something, and Miles was actively coaching Walker Howard, which I thought was very good. You can be a pouty if it's your 6th year out here and you've got a guy that's taking the first team reps and you're not. But to my eye, he was involved, he was engaged, he was going through all the drills full speed, and he was also helping one of the younger players. So I like to see that with Miles Brennan. So that's kind of a look at your quarterbacks. Nuss hurt, Daniels taking with the 1s, Miles with the 2s, and Walker Howard getting reps when he could. Move to the offensive line. That was one of the things I really wanted to see how they stacked up. And for those that had been out at practice previously, the word was that the offensive line lined up a certain way. We were out there today, and it was the exact same. So they are getting a look at this first five first. It's Will Campbell at left tackle, which we've heard since the spring. Tremont Shorts at left guard, the transfer in. Garrett Dellinger is getting the first look at center. Miles Frazier, another transfer in, is at right guard. And Anthony Bradford is repping at the right tackle. Before we get to the second-team offensive line, kind of some thoughts on that. We know that Will Campbell is going to be the guy at left tackle right now. They've kind of set that in stone. They've been public with it. They've talked about it in press conferences. They did it back in the spring, so I don't have any reason to believe there's a real second option right there. Tremont Shorts and Miles Frazier getting the first look at guard. They brought these guys in to be plug-and-play guys. You thought that that Frazier might be a tackle, but it looks like those two guys are going to be your guards. And with Garrett Dellinger, you bring in a little bit more size, a little bit more physicality than you would with Charles Turner there at center. And the one that I wanted to focus on was Anthony Bradford out there at right tackle. Anyone you talked about on the previous staff said that that Bradford could really play. He just needs to lose 20 pounds. And, I'm not going to act like I'm a scale with my eyeballs here, but he's just a huge guy. He's just a really, really big guy. And he got hurt a little bit last year. I don't know if the plan is to cut 5, 10, 12, 15 more pounds off of him, but I think he could use it. He's just a really, really big guy out there on the tackle spot.
Yeah, some guys just have that built to them. Like Kenny Lofton Jr., he's just one of those guys who reminds me of that. Like, they're just going to have that frame to where they're never going to be little. And I think for Bradford, you see him out there. He's a really big kid, like you said. And in the run game, you figure he can be extremely dominant. So I think they're going to really be working on his pass game. But I also think the scheme is going to go a long way this year with not making those guys just stand up all day and have to pass block a lot of these, dominant edge rushers in the SEC. So looking at the offensive line, I do like that Frazier and Shorts, are in there. It lets you know that, it confirms what they, saw when they put them in the transfer portal and, recruited them to come to LSU. And I think Dellinger is a name that we saw a lot last year and kind of had some potential. So if he can kind of take that spot at center, I know that's going to be a big question mark for this team, not having that true center. I think the line can, get the job done.
Ultimate Warrior on in the Bayou 4 chat says, "Where's the scrimmage?" Well, I saw 25 snaps of 11 on 11, and then they went back to individuals, and potentially at the end after I left, they may have done some more 11 on 11. Brian Kelly's meeting with the media right now, and they're all tweeting out stuff. You can't tweet until practice is totally over. So there was a period there, 2 hours where they were practicing, and you didn't get anything. I was there for an hour and 25 minutes of it. So I saw 25 snaps of quote-unquote scrimmage. They didn't go in Tiger Stadium, which we thought. They pulled it to the practice facility, and they were just working out there on the Ponderosa. So I wouldn't call it like a true 11 on 11 move the ball down the field scrimmage. They were running snaps. They did about 25 reps, and then they went back to one-on-ones and then to individuals. So no like true scrimmage while I was there. Potentially in the last 30 minutes, we'll see as the tweets continue to roll out. And if something comes to light on Twitter that we need to hear about, we'll get you a guest on here in the second hour, and we'll figure out what exactly it was. On the second team offensive line, you had Marcus Dumerville at left tackle. You had Emory Jones at left guard, the freshman from Catholic. You had Charles Turner at the center spot. Cardell Thomas at right guard. And, nope, I switched that around. So I have Dumerville at, let me see if I can remember it off the top of my head. I have him at both. Dumerville was at left tackle, right tackle. I'll find it on the thing. I wrote it down twice. But that looks to me to be the second team offensive line. And I'll tell you this, the highlight of that group was Emory Jones absolutely pancaking Jacoby and Guillory on a rep. It was a nasty block, and the entire offensive line group just went nuts out there coming through.
Yeah, look, that's the guy I said, man. I think he has the highest ceiling out of all the guys I've seen so far. He's just really, really athletic, and he really is huge. And so you mix those two together with some great technique, you can get really, really good things. And so I was hoping there's a world where he can get some snaps, but I think the guys who played a lot more college football are probably going to get the nod to start the season. But I definitely see that guy being a big role in what this offense does by the end of the season.
Cam Wire was the second team right tackle. I should have known that, but my notes were wrong, and I was just reading through them, and that was not right. So Cam Wire was the right tackle, Dumerville at the left tackle for the second team offensive line. So that's kind of a look at wide receiver. Jack Bash dealing with those shin splints that Brian Kelly talked about the first day of practice. Also, Mike Denbrock hinted at it as well. He's still not a full go out there. Hopefully, he's going to be okay here in the next couple of weeks and can get out there. Kayshawn's running with the ones. Jeray Jenkins running with the ones. And Malik Neighbors running with the ones. We'll talk about some one-on-one stuff coming up in the second segment. But teaser here, Malik Neighbors still unstoppable out there in the one-on-ones, and there's nothing they can do with him. So that's a very, very good sign on the one-on-one reps. So at tight end, you got Cole Taylor out there. You've also got the freshman Thomas, who looks the part, as you talked about when you went out to practice earlier. He's got a big frame, big build. He's not freakishly athletic or doing anything crazy out there, but they've got to find bodies at that position at the very least. We think it's going to be minimized in terms of the scheme and what they do with it, but Thomas does have Taylor does have a big frame, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I was like, Thomas, who are we talking about here? Yeah, Taylor. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
they're both Taylor.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for LSU, it's like that's a position you just haven't had that development and that production from in a very long time, and so it's hard to accept from a true freshman, a guy who hasn't played any college football, but. Just looking at that room, I mean, we got Stores. We're looking at him to get some stats right now. So I think anytime you're talking about that for a Division I program like LSU, it's not a good place to be. So we'll see what the kid has. I think he definitely fits the frame. He looks the bill, and to me, when I gotta look at him, he looks like he can mix up in the run game and the pass game. Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor, hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.